Hey guys, this is Greg with Medical Muscle. And in this video, I am talking with my good friend Roman, who I've known for quite a while. I think he's a really smart guy, really funny guy. And I hope you guys enjoy this talk. So Roman, before we start, go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Oh, hi, I'm Roman. I'm from Jersey. Known Greg since I think day one of medical school. I'm pretty sure in our first small group, he said something along the lines of like, "Man, that guy's really cool. I want to be friends with him." It was an inside thought, but he didn't filter it. But yeah, after that, we just started hanging out and studying together.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. But yeah, our study sessions were solid. For the people that don't know, what specialty are you applying for this match cycle?
Yeah, I'm applying to emergency medicine, and that's kind of been what I've been focused on.
What made you choose emergency of all the specialties you could have chose from?
So honestly, it was a mixture of things. One is a personality thing for me. I love doing multiple things at the same time. Once you step into the emergency room, you'll know why that makes sense. For those of you who haven't been in there yet, the other is like the personality that goes along with it. It's a lot of like adrenaline junkies and other such adventurous sorts of people. I found that I really got along with a lot of them when I was working in an emergency room, and that's where I felt myself being most at home. And that's really important because you're kind of choosing who you're going to work with down the road. So it's good to be able to get along with those sorts of folks. The thing that brought me to ER was actually scribing in the ER. I worked with a bunch of really cool physicians, one of whom, I still follow her adventures on Instagram. She's a rock climber. She's summited Everest a couple of times. She's scroll suit certified, which requires like 200 solo skydives, and that's really a pipe dream of mine as well. So it's folks like that and folks who are interested in just like trying something new or adventurous that I really tend to get along well with. And a lot of interviews I've been on say, "Oh, and our group has our residency has a rock climbing group," and every time they say that, that checks a box for me.
That's a really good point. You got to choose a specialty that you jive with. If there's a personality type, people that you would like to work with, that makes the most sense. That's a good way to put it. The emergency medicine is just like the perfect pick for your personality. And I think for most students trying to pick a specialty, you got to find like which one meshes with your personality. How much tolerance do you have for, difficult patients? How much you can deal with stress? How much you like excitement? Like certain fields are a lot more calm. Some are way more exciting. And it's like you got to figure out where you thrive. You're a very smart guy. Very smart guy. I want to clarify that with the groups. Roman was always a really good student. We had studied together pretty much from term one, but he's a big time video game player. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, honestly, I was always into video games, but then I came kind of back to it, honestly, in sometime in term one. Whereas a lot of people like lost video games along the track, I found that it sometimes helped me. I ended up getting some better grades once I started bringing video games back into my life because it's a good form of stress release for me, and it's also a very good motivator for me. Yeah, I find that the work-life balance is very important, even in medical school. I think I'll continue to think the same thing in residency. It's about trying to maintain, stable sense of self, and there's parts of me that I don't want to give up.
That's good. That's a good way to put it. Is there any like tip on studying that you have? Because there were certain things I learned from you that I thought were really helpful. But anything that you want to share to the listeners?
But there was one night where we finished an exam, and the pre-reading for the next day kept me up until 11 or 12 p.m. And that was post-exam, which is already an exhausting day. It's 4 to 5 hours sometimes. I think it was that day that I started to decide for myself that like I had to change something, and the way that looked was more concerted effort, which is to say, when I was studying, I was studying. I definitely fell into habits sometimes. I'm sure you know this sort of thing, like you experience this too, where your days are just dragging on and on. Just for me, it was like just kind of taking a step back on some of those days and like waking up the next morning and being like, okay, I am just working hard. I'm working hard. I'm not letting this get until this point again because yesterday was miserable. Like, if I had a 7 o'clock day the previous day, I tried to end studying like 3 p.m. if I could, get back those 4 hours, have more days that were pleasant for me, more days where I could spend more time on myself, playing video games or, spending time with friends, other stuff that I felt was restorative for me.
That's a great realization. I think for most students, they get into this habit of pushing harder and harder and harder and not like assessing what they're doing might not be the most efficient. And it's when you've really pushed yourself to your limit that you can start making those decisions like, hey, listen, I got to change something because I can't maintain this. You seem to like really enjoy yourself through medical school, but when you did study, you worked very hard, very focused. And I think that's really important for people is like, you can work really crummy for like hours and like not sleep and not have fun on the weekends, or you can just work really hard in a very short period of time and have a lot of free time off.
That's exactly what it is for me. I mean, I think it's very important at all times to just like be aware of what your restorative activities are and how to get back to them. Because like you were saying, working really late, it's a self-feeding and honestly bad cycle. The second you get into that cycle of like, oh, I'm up till 3 a.m. every day, things are getting worse, not better. I mean, if any of your viewers, listeners have been through a bit of medical school, we talk about the importance of sleep a lot. Leading to hypertension, leading to increased stress, and those sorts of things are not going to benefit you come test day. Like if you're trying to be your optimal person, the person that's going to be best operational on test day, you shouldn't be creating bad habits moving up to test day, such as, staying up until 3 or 4 a.m. to cram.
Yeah.
It's not even like efficacious brain use, it doesn't help you.
That's great. That's great insight to share. I mean, that's fantastic. I wish I had known that earlier on. I think I pushed it too hard, and that's such a good description.
I think towards the end, you and I were both going to sleep early before exams because we were talking about the importance of sleep over the importance of learning some other fact,
Oh, definitely. 100%. Yeah, exactly. That's a great realization. So, other than like study tips, do you have any other, well, it can be a study tip too, but do you have any words of wisdom for anybody who wants to go into EM or medicine or anything like that?
I mean, so if you're undecided and you think EM might be for you, if you have the same personality as I do, where I'm like never just doing one thing at once, that might be an indicator that EM is the right place for you. Another important thing is like lifestyles. There's very different lifestyle niches in the different subspecialties and specialties, and you got to learn about like which one's important for you. Like I went into year 3 thinking surgery might be for me. I got a couple weeks in, and then I thought to myself, this is definitely not for me, and I will never see myself here. So, it's definitely important to take to those cues while you're in the specialty. Still definitely try during those core rotations. They're super important. They teach you a lot, but it's important sometimes when to notice, like when to walk away, and when to notice, like, okay, this might not be for me. You get enough warning signs, and then you should just take that as a lesson.
Correct. That's a good realization. Any life lessons that you want to share just outside of medicine?
I would say the importance of getting into good habits is, I can't emphasize that enough. I mean, yeah, I'm sure you've talked about this a good deal in some of the videos, but just to reemphasize, the importance of a workout routine and sticking with a workout routine is so important in medical school. Like, that's a way to maintain your sanity. It's a good way to reduce stress. You get some good chemicals pumped up into your brain, and also just keeps you sharper, generally speaking.
That's great. Well, Roman, thank you so much for letting me talk with you about this and sharing your words of wisdom with the viewers.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
For a long time, I was just known as that guy that knows medical muscle, and now I'm going to be the guy that was featured on Medical Muscle. So it's a promotion for me.
Well, fantastic. Well, all the viewers, I hope you guys keep doing well, and I wish you the best of luck. If you can, subscribe, for more great content, and I'll make more videos coming soon.